Hi friends, it's 3 o'clock Mountain Time. I'm Pennie Hunt and this is Pennie Heart to Heart. I've been coming to you every day at the same time. This is day 13 of videos and day 13 of me being in my house. And I think that's probably true for a lot of us, that it's day 13 or whatever your number is when you started staying home and kind of isolated from the world because of what's happening in the world and the virus that's going around. I had a busy day so far today. I started out early this morning talking to the PF Warriors, pulmonary fibrosis warriors. It's a group of folks that have that illness, and they have a monthly call, and I was invited to get on and talk to them this morning, and that was fun. I taught them some of the tips and techniques I've been teaching you. And I also want to say that I feel so much better today. Yesterday was not a good day. I had a headache all day, and I didn't feel well, and I finally narrowed it down to not getting enough sleep. I had not been sleeping well for a couple of nights, and if I don't get enough sleep, I get headaches, and I just didn't feel good yesterday. So last night I went to bed very early. I slept really well, and I feel great today. So those of you who ask, thank you for that. And yes, I'm all better now today, and back to perky Pennie. I said yesterday I wasn't very perky. I wasn't the normal perky Pennie that I usually am, but today I'm back. I've also been outside for a walk just to get some fresh air and sunshine. We have sunshine and 50-something degrees here in Wyoming today. So that is something I'm very grateful, and a gift for us today after some kind of gloomy, cold weather. Today, I'm going to share a tip with you, and day 13. So we've shared a lot of tips. Before we start, as always, I want to remind you, if you want to be in the book drawing, Love Your Life No Matter What. Why is it doing that? Love Your Life No Matter What. 76 tips to live in love and gratitude. And I'm giving books away. So all you have to do in the subject line, in the comment line, write, I love your book, and you'll be in this week's drawing. I have 2 books stacked up now to mail, and so as soon as I can get out and get to the post office, they'll all be in the mail for the winners. So the tip today kind of goes along with a lot of them. As I always say, they get connected and gather together so that hopefully they work together for you, and there's something you can implement in your life. Yesterday we talked about joy, and I said I wasn't feeling good and that it wasn't a good day, and so I was trying to find the little tiny snippets of joy in my life yesterday that could perk me up and make me feel good, and most importantly, make me feel grateful, because living in gratitude is huge, and that is what pulls me up every time. Today, I want to talk about dots, D-O-T, dots, and specifically how not to connect the dots. Don't connect the dots. And that is a phrase we hear a lot in our life. We hear, you should connect the dots. You should connect the dots, right? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit different spin on it, as I usually do. I think it is human nature to connect the dots, and that's what we've been taught. But what I'd like you to do, and if you have a pencil and a piece of paper, what I'd like you to do is draw a circle. Just a circle on a piece of paper, or you can do this later if you like. But let me do it for you. I have a piece of scratch paper right here. Draw a circle, and then what I want you to do is put a dot right in the middle of it. So it looks like this. You know, I have not, there we go. Looks like a circle with a dot in it. Put your dot anywhere. And what I want you to think about is this circle is our world, our personal world. So your world, your universe, your life is that circle. And what I want you to think about is that everything that happens to us in our life is one dot. Everything that happens to us in our life is one dot. Everything good and bad is one dot. Here's what we do. As humans, here's what we do. We make some dots bigger than other dots. So we will put a great big dot and little dots. So, ooh, there we go. We've got big dots, we've got little dots, and we give more emphasis to certain things and smaller emphasis to other things. Again, that's human nature, and it seems logical, right? Here's what I want you to think about. What if all of our dots were the same size? What if everything good, little good things and big good things, were all the same size dot? What if all the bad things, the little bad things, and the big tragic, emotional, life-changing bad things were all the same size dot? Could you think of them that way? Here's what we do. As humans, we start collecting these dots, and we have things like getting married, graduating from school, having babies, celebrations go in the big dot category of great things, and we think those are big dots, right? And that's true. Little things like it was a beautiful day today and I got to go for a walk, you might put that as a tiny dot. It was a good thing that happened, but it was a little dot. And so we categorize our dots in sizes. In the same way we do with bad dots. Little bad things happen. We stub our toe, we run out of gas in our car, things like that. We could say it's a little dot, it happened. And then big things like loss of a loved one, like what's happening in the world right now, we would consider a crisis of the world, and that's a big dot when the stock market goes down. And so in our circle that you drew on your piece of paper is all of these dots. We put all of these dots in there. Here's what happens. Again, it is human nature to remember the bad dots. The bad dots, the big bad dots that we give so much power and size to, we look at them as life-changing, and they are, but the bad dots are sticky. And the bad dots like to stick together. So if you have one bad thing happen, and then another bad thing happens that comes in your circle, that first bad dot grabs onto it, and it gets sticky like a snowball. And all the bad dots start layering and adding up until pretty soon you have a big snowball effect taking over the whole circle of your life. And then you think your life is horrible, that everything is happening, that everything is going wrong. And it's because we don't keep our dots separated. Now, here's something that I always talk about when I speak, and it's hard to hear, but it is the reality of life. When a baby is born and you get married or you get divorced, those should all be the same size dots. It's an event that happened in our life, so it is a dot. I understand that emotionally and financially, in a lot of different ways, some dots have a bigger impact on our lives than others. But if we can kind of keep the dots all in the same size in our head and in our hearts and in our circle of life, and try to keep the bad dots from sticking together. Because what happens is we think about those bad dots, we think about those bad dots, we think about those bad dots, and we allow them to grow and stick together. And then we have that big snowball of a dot. So here's the technique I want you to remember. D-O-T. Don't overthink the dots. Don't overthink the dots. Don't overthink one dot or two dots. Give them all the same amount of thinking time. Now, I will be the first one to say, when you have a tragedy in your life, that is a big dot. You think about it a lot. It's something that will never leave your mind. If you've lost a loved one, that will never leave your mind. But where people get in trouble is when they let their yesterdays take over today, and they get stuck in that one dot. I lost that job. I can't get out of bed in the morning. I'll never get another job. Pretty soon they're so overwhelmed with overthinking that dot that they can't function. Or if you are grieving the loss of someone that you loved and you can't get to the space where you can join back into life, join back into having your own life and become happy again, you get stuck in that sticky dot and you can't get out. And so it overtakes your life. If you can remember this, D-O-T, don't overthink the dots. And if you have one that you really are struggling with, give it a certain amount of time a day to think about. Say, okay, I'm going to pull this dot out of my circle. I'm going to give, today at 1 o'clock, I'm going to give some thinking time to that, and then I'm going to put it back so that I can do some other things in my life and not be so overwhelmed by that one dot. Overwhelm is what takes people down. Overwhelm is what takes me down. And so if you concentrate on one dot to the point of creating your position of overwhelm for yourself, that is when it stops your life. That is when it immobilizes you. That is when you start to feel like your world is coming to an end and you get depressed and you have anxiety attacks. Don't overthink the dots. Now, as always, I always tell you how to relate this to kids so you can teach this to kids. If you have little ones that are arguing and fighting, and especially now, they're home with you and you're trying to do your own work and homeschool them because school has been shut down for this time. Whatever it is, it's hard to have kids at home every day, especially in the house, all day long without some nitpicking going on and some arguing and some fighting. So if you teach them, when they say, oh, Jimmy did this to me, and well, no, Sally hit me, and you can do this. Kids relate to physical things. If you draw a circle and say, well, let's put a dot in your circle because that happened. Let's put a dot in your circle. But it's not any bigger than any other dot. It's just a dot. It just happened. And teach them how, if those are bad dots, how the bad dots are sticky, and you don't want them sticking together because then it snowballs into a big fight and a big argument. So Jimmy did this at 7 o'clock this morning, and then Sally did this at 11, and then, well, he did this at 4, and they don't remember the times, but they remember that it happened, and little young people will get their anxiety and their anger and their frustration built up so that pretty soon they have a big sticky dot in their circle. And that is when big explosions happen and fights happen. Not only in kids, but in adults, in relationships too. So remember this theory, this concept, the dot theory, as I call it. Remember it for your family. Remember it during this time of when we're together. Togetherness is a wonderful thing, but I know we have moments now during this time in our world that it gets overwhelming. And so this is a technique that you can use, even if you have to physically draw a circle to remind yourself of it and put a couple dots in it so you remember that's just a dot. That's one dot. One dot alone doesn't cause a crisis. It's when we let the dots grow and we overthink them and they get sticky and stick together. So I hope you use that. I hope you think about it. Sometimes these things you have to think about a little bit before you think, oh, I maybe can try that and implement it. And again, these are simple little things that I give you. They are little concepts that don't cost any money. Maybe a minute of time to draw a circle and put a couple dots in it, stick it on your makeup mirror so you remember it. Maybe a minute to teach your kids how to do this and explain it to other people in your life, because I'm a full believer that when you teach something, you learn it better yourself. So I hope you add this to your war chest of treasure chest, I guess it would be, of ideas and concepts to help you in life and help us get through this time of some isolation and aloneness and maybe togetherness with our families, but this time of the virus in our world. I want to remind you again, even if you watch this when it's not live, if you watch this video later, just put in the comment, I'd love your book, and you will be in the book drawing for this week. So I'm giving one a week away until I don't know when, until this crisis in the world is coming to a slowdown, or I may continue it after that. I don't know. But you will be in the drawing if you just put "I love your book" in the comment bar below. I have also linked the writing that I did years ago about don't connect the dots when I first came up with this dot theory. And as always, it's with this video, so you can go and read it if you like. I would appreciate if you share with others and invite them to come and join us every day here at 3 o'clock Mountain Time for these Pennie Heart to Heart. I thank you for your time. I know it is a commitment to join me at 3 o'clock, so I'm thrilled when I see that you are here with me. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I'm Pennie Hunt, and this has been Pennie Heart to Heart. Thanks for watching.